Hi, this is Leo Malmasi, and this is an analysis of Delta Airlines' financial debacle of the 1990s to current date and the recovery out of declaring bankruptcy in late 2005. Delta was riding a healthy economy before getting hit by a recession from 1991, or from 1990 to 1991, caused by the 1989 savings and loan crisis, which started a tailspin for the airline headed for bankruptcy. Delta would be hit from multiple angles, not allowing them to recover losses from previous quarters. Executives took some unconventional methods at the time to adapt to changes. Some efforts were more successful than others. Nonetheless, effective leadership under high risk and high stress are signs of great leadership. Overarching challenges for Delta Airlines is centered around financial difficulties. No longer in the golden age of the airline industry, Delta needed to gain financial discipline. The causes for financial trouble are many. Most of the causes are from external sources such as struggling economy, uh, market competition, record high fuel prices, natural disasters, and the unexpected terrorist attack of September 11, 2001. Some of the financial difficulties were self-inflicted, with Leadership 7.5 Delta Airlines' objective of lowering the cost per seat per mile from 9.26 cents to 7.5 cents was an ambitious goal that has been attributed to averting substantial losses in a struggling economy, though ultimately souring the morale of Delta's company culture that likely led to their pilots refusing to negotiate a new pay reduction to help stave off filing for bankruptcy, which eventually happened. The kind of morale and support for management that once prompted the employees to buy the company a new Boeing 767 was gone. The employee morale has also affected customer service. Delta used to boast some amazing benefits that needed to be cut, as well as a good percent of their workforce to save the company from going under. The perceived obstacles Delta was facing was to start plaguing financial leaks in the boat. Wherever the company, wherever a company cost was, there needs to be a way to trim it down to an acceptable impact to performance. Delta needed to gain the support of their workforce. Uh, in the 1990s, 22% rated Delta's leadership effective, leaving the other 78% something less than desirable. They needed to rebuild brand image. Customer perception was damaged. As the employee workforce was being cut, fewer uh, uh, baggage handlers led to more lost luggage, just as one example of failed customer service. Debt obligations on top of quarterly losses. Delta owed millions in pension plans as well as financial obligations to vendors. The 9/11 terrorist attacks on New York City on the Twin Towers had far-reaching impact on the airline industry beyond people being afraid to fly. Government regulations the airlines had to abide by also came at an additional cost. Delta started plugging financial leaks in the boat by looking within the organization first. Employee benefits, where medical benefits virtually had a blank check and had to be capped off. Job cuts were in the range of 31.2 thousand from 2001 to 2005. Given the billions in losses, pay cuts and job cuts were a necessary evil. While these were logical changes, they failed to communicate priorities, values, or a mission from the top of the organization down. As for as if morale wasn't already at its lowest, two executive officers jumped ship prior to Delta filing for Chapter 11 in 2005. During, During Delta's financial crisis, two important initiatives were designed to address financial issues. The first is Leadership 7.5, where the cost per passenger per mile was to be lowered from 9.26 cents to 7.5 cents. Leadership 7.5 didn't reach its 7.5-cent goal due to a rising economy, um, but Delta did manage to lower cost per passenger per mile to 7.5 cents. The second initiative was Operation Clockwork. The idea behind Operation Clockwork was to minimize the time a plane spent on the ground. By shortening the time spent on the ground, Delta could get more flights in the same amount of time than in previous years. Additionally, the amount of flight routes were increased. Operation Clockwork was a risky move because passengers were now subject to strict boarding times. Failure to board on time, and you would not be allowed to board, even if you were seconds away from getting through the gate. After their bankruptcy, Delta began to recover and bought Northwest Airlines in 2008, becoming the largest domestic airline in the industry at the time. Since then, Delta has acquired other airline subsidiaries and forming partnerships across the globe on its way to becoming the first global airline in the industry. By merging with Northwest Airlines, Delta has gained new business connections, flight locations, and a greater network of supply chain management. Making the move to merge with Northwest was seen as a gamble, and the timing had to be perfect, especially with the volatile nature of the airline industry. Delta executives took the time to reflect on the recent past where financial competency had been honed to a razor's edge through half a decade of developing the skills, knowledge, and experience of really digging deep into the organization to extract every possible savings that could be had, as well as understanding that poor employee relations comes at a cost that should not be compromised. By learning the lessons from the past, Delta can focus on attending to the present and prospects for the future of what becoming the first global airline could mean for the brand and for customer perceptions for Delta. To regain employee support, Delta enacted a comprehensive profit sharing program and made benefits and retirement plans the same across the board for executives, pilots, flight attendants, or members of the ground crew. This is a display of how values at Delta guides the organization. Core values at Delta, commonly referred to as rules of the road, are to be courteous, have open communications, financial discipline, and effective operations. Given the organization's shared values, to look to when a clear answer does not present itself. This is one of the clear defining lines between Delta of the past and the present, where Delta would have shut the gates to a paying customer seconds away from missing their flight. By using common courtesy, Delta is focusing on being a leader in the airline industry for customer service. In conclusion, small steps taken in the past when Delta was facing financial ruin has given Delta the playbook to make small wins in the present, as well as the skill and know-how for making big wins, such as the merger with Northwest Airlines. Leadership skills gained from learning from the past, tending to the present, and focusing on the future, letting Delta's values guide them. In addition, Delta uses its own story to communicate effective lessons learned. Delta turned the organization around by learning lessons through a series of unfortunate and unexpected events, most of which were out of their control. Still, they were able to learn from failure and build a successful strategy for becoming a powerhouse contender in the airline industry once again. Again, this is Leo Malmasi, and thanks for watching.